What was that? What still is that? Hello, everyone, and welcome back once again to Gary's Mod. And it seems like we're starting with some spooks right off the bat. That sounds very directional. Is that actually going to be a thing, or...? Okay, the map is labeled RP generators, right? So it's got to be an RP map. There can't be anything that's really going to hurt me, right? But then again, I've learned not to put anything past Gary's Mod. Yes, sir, I think this will be a fine map to reintroduce the safety Glock. Yeah, I honestly don't even remember at this point if I did the intro or not, even though it was only a minute ago. In case I didn't, hello everyone, and welcome back once again to Gary's Mod. And today the map I'm going to be exploring is RP Generators, one which has been requested for a while, but which I didn't want to play because I realized that it was content from the Stalker games. Now, the Stalker games are a series that I really, really like. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten to play as much of them yet as I would hope. But I didn't want to spoil anything for myself, and then only recently today, I read a comment saying that this is actually cut content from the first game. I'm just gonna start taking it on faith that if it hasn't sent anything my way yet, that it's not going to. That in the RP prefix of the map title is at least somewhat reassuring. So yeah, this is a ported Stalker map, apparently cut content from the first game. And I've wanted to try one of these Stalker maps for a little while. It looks like we've got some lightning in the distance, if I saw correctly. Because one of my favorite movies ever for its visual aesthetic and the ideas that it presents is the movie Stalker, which the games aren't based on, but of course are obviously inspired by. I don't even know where to begin. I have no idea how large this map is, but judging by the whopping 550 megabyte file size, I'd imagine it could potentially be quite large. Although, that was never really a problem in the Stalker games themselves, was it? They've always been more about the vibe than what you were actually doing. Wandering from point A to point B across the zone is kind of the whole point of the experience. And you know what? I think in that way, they actually capture the feel of the movie extremely well. I never thought a movie about a bunch of middle-aged Russian men walking through tall grass talking about philosophy for 3 hours could become one of my favorite movies. But it is. Such a big part of it is, it's almost like urban exploring in a way, but it's got this, sort of magical property to it. Look at this, these burned structures indicating that at one time this was just a normal place. Is that a home bunker entrance right there? Clearly the houses didn't really survive, but maybe we'll be heading underground a little sooner than I thought. Also, is it just me or do those sounds seem a little bit louder? I can never let my guard down because the moment I do, that's when it's going to throw something stupid at me. Looks like we can go down. Oh, and the tack light isn't working. Can I see anyway? Ah, there is lighting down here. Good. Of course, it's running into that same problem that I always have with maps, which is, explain to me how the electrical lighting is on. But look at this. They've actually gone for a pretty realistic home bunker. It's very small and cramped. Imagine sitting in here, listening to the rumblings of the apocalypse happen above you. It almost looks like an alien landscape, doesn't it? Which is why I love the contrast with all this old, destroyed human construction around. And that's something that I really loved about the movie Stalker. You had this area that was, at one time, a completely normal town or city, something happens that humans don't really understand, and it takes on all these properties which presumably can be understood by science, but it's not about that. We're not going to go into it. And as far as our characters are concerned, it might as well be magic. In fact, the whole plot is literally about just trying to find this room that grants wishes, and the journey they take to get there. I mean, they might as well be following the yellow brick road to see the wizard. But it's got this bleak aesthetic, and what's great about it is that whatever happened, it turned the environment into this alien-looking thing, and yet all around you can see the human creation that it grew up around. Actually, it's kind of eerie how the movie pretty much captured the Chernobyl aesthetic 6 years before the disaster even occurred. We have a makeshift graveyard here. Although it looks like this guy tried to escape well after his time. Oh, more than one of you in here. Yeah, there's that Russian bleakness. Yeah, I mean, that's how I would describe Stalker. It's like an extremely bleak Wizard of Oz. Yep. I guess I can't go this way. It seems the sign is an authority on this matter. But yeah, one aspect of the movie that I feel was really translated well into the games, and it's good because it's like the single most critical thing, is the relationship that the main character, Stalker, has with the Zone. There's one of my magazines, I must have dropped it earlier. There's this relationship that the main character has with the Zone, where he recognizes that it's dangerous, that one wrong step can kill you in a way you wouldn't even understand. And yet, he's had enough experience with it, he knows it well enough, that even though he has a family at home, it's actually the place he feels most like himself. It's the place he feels most free to be him. And that's something that I think translates really well into the games, because so much of it is just walking from point A to point B across the surface. So much of it is contemplation. Look at this. We have this anomalous structure, something that would never form naturally under natural Earth conditions, and yet you just feel like it's inviting you to walk through it. Now, whether that's a trap or not remains to be seen, but it's something that's always been really cool to me about the idea of the Zone, that even though it's a location, you almost feel intent, you feel personality, you feel motivations from it. Even though you realize that it's something you could never comprehend, that it's something way beyond what anyone could understand, you almost feel like it's guiding you. And that's something that comes across in the way that the game's world was designed. Now, as to what the purpose of these structures is, I'll refer to the map title. It says generators, but it seems to be spewing power up into the atmosphere, possibly fueling the storms somehow. What is that? Was I taking damage from being too close? Sounds like it. I don't have a HUD, so I can't actually tell. Am I still dying? Yeah, I have not played Shadow of Chernobyl, so I imagine the events of that game explain what all of this is. I've only really played, like, graphics modded Call of Pripyat, and I've only gotten as far as making it through the tunnel to Pripyat. So like I said, I have not played nearly as much of the games as I'd like. Hello. That looks like some sort of bunker entrance. Hang on, let me find my way around. Let's check that out. It's quite dark in there, but hopefully we'll have just enough light provided by the map itself. There's a certain kind a very specific eeriness associated with being able to see what's in front of you, but having your own hands shrouded in shadow. Is this going to be an elevator that's going to work? We did figure out where the power is coming from. Come on. Maybe the flashlight will reveal something useful. Actually, it already has. There's a ladder right there. Okay, so the elevator's not working, but there may be more to see yet. Something I really appreciate about the Stalker games, from the perspective of an explorer, is its portrayal of that post-Soviet abandoned aesthetic. Because when you're exploring abandoned places, I find it's a good idea to have the attitude that you're not just here to document what it looks like now, but to imagine yourself there when it was in operation, what it would have looked like once upon a time, and to imagine the different people that would have been doing things all around you in the spot that you're standing. Because remember, every rusted shell of a building that you see was once constructed for a purpose. And the interesting thing to me about abandoned Soviet aesthetics is that this was once one of the top world powers. The one that, if you were an American for decades of our history, you believed that these were the guys who were one day going to end the world. And they were prepared for that, just like we were. To sit through these rusted and crumbling structures, I mean, these are the remains of an empire. I mean, they're still going to destroy the world through, information warfare, but to just look at this, to realize that something that was once considered too big to fail, we're walking through its skeleton. And another thing that I really love about the Stalker games, it actually takes that into account by... Can I squeeze on through here? No? Am I going to have to no-clip? Maybe I can get through back here. Yep, there we go. That was the right way to do it. The game has a lot of restraint. So many of the bunkers that I explored, and I can't say if the whole game is like this, but I imagine it would be true. Oh, this is going to be really difficult. Ladders don't want to cooperate with VR. But the game shows a lot of restraint as far as not packing these corridors with enemies. In fact, the enemies aren't so much enemies as creatures that have behavior programmed into them that makes them feel like they actually are part of the environment and not just an enemy that's going to come out of the shadows and attack you. And in that way, it makes it feel like, in the zone, nature is doing what nature does, recycling everything that it has at its disposal. And so, what these creatures have found is that these things that were once built to survive a nuclear war, or to start one, also double just fine as safe nests to call home. And you see that everywhere you go. Over the summer, I was exploring an abandoned hospital, and I was just shooting some footage outside, getting some exterior shots, and I noticed there was this one light on the roof of a loading bay, and there was a crack in it, and I kept seeing movement from it. And at one point, I was setting up my camera near it, and I looked up when I saw the movement again, and I realized that there was a hole in this light, and these little birds were going in and out. There was a nest inside the light, because it's basically, it was once set up in order to illuminate the loading bay while things were being dropped off or taken away. And now, it's a perfect little pouch to build a nest in, safe from predators and the elements. It's about how things change and how everything else adapts to those changes. It's actually really cool to see in the medium of gaming how the zone actually feels like a functioning ecosystem. Those are some new sounds. And that train feels ominously like it's staring at me. I'm sorry, I realize I haven't been talking about the map itself very much, and really more the ideas that the visuals bring to mind. But down here isn't really giving me too much specifically to talk about, besides the fact that it's huge. Actually, come to think of it, it actually is pretty interesting that that unassuming bunker entrance leads to all this. This huge underground space that's apparently big enough to have its own train network. Either this place is very important, or it leads to somewhere that is. Alright, Mr. Train. I know this isn't a horror map, but I'm really gonna need you to not turn your lights on at the last second. Look at that. Doesn't that look like a big nose and two beady little eyes up there? Like it's staring me down with utter cold indifference. Oh wow, this place is actually quite large. Quite a bit larger than I was expecting, because there's not really a whole lot to the surface. Now, like I said, I'm not very familiar with the Stalker games, but do these markings indicate laboratories? I know one part of the games is that there's a lot of hidden laboratories all over the place, and that's one of the best places to look for anomalies. Look at all this. I mean, just the scale of it, and the engineering that would have been involved in digging out a complex like this. And to have the need for it in the first place. It all just goes to show how temporary everything is. How an empire that would have both the need and the means to create something like this could just leave it all to sit and rot. Quarantine? I can read Russian, but I can't speak it. This is the part where things normally start to get a little scary in the games. Tension rising. Are these doors that I'm going to be able to open or no? Oh, thank God. Hello, does this go even deeper? Oh, it's an open elevator shaft. Look at how deep that is. Consider how deep we already were, and then look how deep that is. That is insane. But I, of course, don't want to jump down there. It doesn't look like I'll have any way back up. Even if the map creator has, by some chance, placed water at the bottom. What is all this? Well, based on those coils on the side, I'd hazard a guess and say that we're probably directly underneath the generators seen above. Although I couldn't tell you how any of this is supposed to work, considering I never played the games. Let's climb up top and see if there's anything else for us to see. We've got kind of a chutes and ladders setup going on with all these staircases. Don't think I don't see that ladder down there. We can go all the way down. But what happens if we go all the way up? It's always incredible to me just how wrong things can go. Not even through apocalyptic events, but even simple things like economic disasters, things that are caused by just the wrong pen strokes on the wrong sheet of paper, can leave some incredible human achievement like this just rusting underground. Whatever achievement this even was. Oh, and much like the movie Stalker, this has just been me talking about philosophy for 3 hours. Look at all this equipment. and what appears to be a fairly modern, like 2000s-ish, desktop and monitor setup. Although I think in the context of the Stalker games, the zone was abandoned after the Chernobyl disaster, but it didn't actually attain its anomalous properties until about 2006 when experiments were resumed there. This looks like the kind of place you get into a lightsaber fight with Darth Vader. What is down here? Oh, it's grated off. We're not going to be able to open that. Yeah, we could crawl down here, but there'd be no way back up. Doesn't look like there's anything down there for me anyway that I can't see from here. It's the way that lighting presumably comes from the bottom of this structure and then bounces off that curved lower area and reflects back up into the chamber. It's almost like the machine itself is holding a flashlight under its chin as it tells scary stories, and what a scary story it must be if it's its own biography. Look, don't those two lights up there look like a pair of eyes? This machine, whatever it does, might as well be some imprisoned old god. Now, I believe we came in over there because that's opposite from this staircase, so we're going to want to check these two doors. This is actually an elevator, although this seems to be the top, meaning there's nowhere for it to go but down. There could be a whole facility even below this. I don't suppose you'll allow me to use you. That actually looks like a slot for a key card. Okay, what's behind door number 2? Dark. Dark and big. I don't know if there's a specific name for the spear. I'm pretty sure there is. But just the fear of walking into the dark with a flashlight and seeing just the edge, just a piece of huge objects coming into view. I know it's either thalassophobia or submechanophobia would describe that feeling when it comes to large objects underwater. I don't know if there's a name for it outside of this situation, and I am getting flashbacks to GM Ghost Hunt, or GM Paranormal, the body chute that had the stairs and the ramp right beside them. No. No, is that actually a thing? There was that breathy whisper that you might expect from a map like this, but those were some strangely thunderous footsteps that I heard. And this looks significantly more disheveled than the rest of the facility. No. It's moving. Okay, hang on. I can't even see it. How am I supposed to aim? How am I supposed to aim when I can't even see my own gun? What's on the other side of that door? All right, we got to get ready for this. Freeze, Sturpick! No. Was that behind me? Or was that just trying to get me to look one way? Oh my god, I did not expect to actually be scared on this map after all that. I don't like how the music is ramping up as I progress. There's nowhere to go from here. Where is that coming from? No. I'm playing this like a survival horror game now. It's just, look, I know it's an RP map, but you never know what to expect from Gary's mod. The creator can do anything. Remember how out of the way the underground was on RP Bangclaw? Only this. This is a little different. Oh no, it's a... No. Every time I think I'm near the end of one of these things, I realize I'm just getting started. The instinct is to go towards the light, but that's a door. I have to clear the rest of this room first. I say clear. It's just looking at every dark corner for my own peace of mind. Really hate that I can't have the safety Glock and the flashlight out at the same time. Screw that. Okay, hopefully it's not that bad. Hopefully they're just filming a sequel to Suspiria in there. Don't like the lack of noise. Really don't. That sounded a little faster. Those footsteps sounded like they started off just a bit faster than the other ones. There's a curtain strung up over there. Oh, it really is Suspiria. Are we going to see shadows on the other side? I hope it's less Suspiria and more Austin Powers. That is a charred corpse. No! Where'd it go? Where'd it go? I looked away for half a second and it was gone. Is that it on the ground over there, or is that a different one? I legitimately... I glanced aside. I don't even think my head looked away. That was a cough. That was a very clear, directional cough. I glanced away for a fraction of a second, and when I glanced back, it was gone. Which way do I go first? I'm going to say not towards the red light, but if this place seems too big, then I'm going to go back the other way first. That's coughing. That's coughing. There's nothing here. Oh no, there's nothing here. Why has it led me down this way? I must say, though, this must be the creator having a little bit of fun, because there's no way that spooks like this were just ported over from the map, taken from the game files. Oh, it's so freaking dark in there. But look, the light on the other end, it's probably just another one of these on the opposite side, but once I get through, I'll be standing in a spotlight for whatever's in the dark. Really don't like how directional those footsteps sound. Alright, here we go. Just paranoid that it's going to pull something like that. Hello? Oh. Stairs, my favorite. Looks like we don't want to drop down into whatever that is. There's a ladder leading down to it, but we've no reason to investigate, so we won't. Instead, we're going to head upstairs and cross our fingers that this will all eventually lead to the surface. I must say, I was worried that this map was just going to be me talking about the philosophy and aesthetics of Stalker, But it's thrown me something that's much more in line with the intent of the channel, hasn't it? Come on, controller, don't do this to me now. There's just like an indentation in the ground under a single light. Now remember what I said before, the zone, despite being just a location, at times almost seems to have like a will of its own, even if it is a will that we're incapable of understanding. I feel drawn to that spot. But is that foolish of me? Is it an invitation, like a friendly invitation, or is it more like a little fish seeing the light from an anglerfish? Stop that. Hello? Nothing happened. Well, something happened. It's gone silent. Was I maybe supposed to do something in there? Oh wow, this is huge. I see Mr. X is still stalking about the map. Okay, there doesn't seem to be anything for me down there. Let's just keep heading up, up, up towards the surface, towards daylight. And ignore any horrific sounds that may accompany our passage to the top. But of course, we have to explore every room, don't we? Was that bloodstain there a second ago? And what is this? What is this room? The sounds of doors closing is a lot more ominous when there's a lot of open doorways and blind corners all over the place. Okay, I think around here is where we would have come from. Actually, this looks like one of the medical areas from GMOD. If you remember a while back, that was a map that I played on this channel, that I explored, and it too pulled a very similar trick, where things were normal for a very long time, and then when I descended into the absolute deepest bowels of the map, it started getting surprisingly scary. Okay, nothing in here. And I'm happy to keep moving. I'm just gonna ignore those steps and assume that they're nothing. It's just an empty room. Has this been what it was all culminating in? I mean, it certainly got me good. So that was RP generators, and holy cow, I really love that. It's done something that is quickly becoming one of my favorite tropes in GMOD horror maps. Well, not even in horror maps. In fact, it kind of requires that it not explicitly be a horror map. We've seen it before in places like GMOD and RP Bangclaw, where a map is pretty much exactly as advertised on the workshop, but it's hiding something. It's got one small thread for you to spot, in this case, the small bunker up on the surface, and should you decide to pull that thread, it'll unravel a whole curtain and reveal a rabbit hole for you to fall down. So great. And it's even crazier to imagine playing this in multiplayer, in RP, and either having no idea that all of this is right under you, or stumbling upon it by accident. Imagine finding it and getting your friends and being like, hey guys, look what I found, and all of you exploring this together. Garry's Mod is such a unique platform for unexpected experiences, truly unexpected experiences, and I can't recommend this map enough. If you like this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more creepy and comfy content. If you have any ideas for more maps that you think I should explore, or even just videos in general that you think I should do not related to Gary's Mod, the best place to do that is going to be at the Discord, which I will link in the description. If you want to try this map for yourself, I will also link the workshop page in the description. And as always, I will see you in the next one.